call this meeting to order. That clock's a couple minutes slow according to telephone time. So we'll start on an official time, and thank you all for being here, and ask Mr. Hewitt if you will give us an overview and explanation of Resolution 1609 and how we got here.
Yes, sir. As a way of background, Heather, could you? The Board of Commissioners, this initiated with the Board of Commissioners' adoption of the resolution of support to construct the Central Reach project back in mid-March. As part of that, there are several items that are required for us to get to what this particular administrative action is. I think we could have made that type a little smaller. What this particular administrative action is specifically related to is the filing of our application with the Local Government Commission. Looks like we're aiming for the 4th of October on that for that application hearing or a decision to come out. We'll have to get that application together the beginning of September, because you just don't get to show up with an application on the day that you want it approved for the Local Government Commission. There's several items that are running in tandem here. Of course, the first few items up there relate to the engineering specs and design and contracting deadlines, the request for proposals from different dredging outfits, and of course that was back, bids were open the first part of July. We had to rebid it. That bid opening for the rebid project is scheduled for the 18th of August. As part of our administrative process, again, this particular condemnation or acquisition of easements, there are certain timelines that have to be adhered to in the acquisition of the easements. And you just don't, on the day that the application's supposed to go in, drop the hammer on an easement. So what the resolution in front of the board tonight does is it authorizes the attorney to proceed with the preliminary notification and the actions required to file the condemnations. We've made some pretty good progress, and we'll get into with an update on that prior to it. But I think that if you have any questions, that it's probably would be a good thing for Christy to actually read the resolution. And there are a number of things in there that are self-explanatory. It's a fairly detailed resolution. It's a 2-pager. And I'd like, if with the board's indulgence, to allow her to read that resolution.
Yeah, and let's hold your questions until the end. We can always go back.
Resolution 1609, resolution of Town of Holden Beach authorizing filing of condemnation actions to acquire perpetual easements for the town's Central Reach Shore Protection Project. Whereas the Town of Holden Beach is embarking upon its Central Reach Shore Protection Project in order to engage in acquiring, constructing, reconstructing, extending, or otherwise building or improving beach erosion control or flood and hurricane protection works, and whereas the project work under the CRSPP necessarily requires the town to obtain easements applicable to those portions of the ocean beaches in front of oceanfront properties, more particularly described as that part of the beach which is seaward of the following locations, whichever is most landward: the vegetation line, the toe of the frontal dune or primary dune, or the erosion escarpment of the frontal dune or primary dune, as the same shall be determined by the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management, the portion of the property being the easement area. Whereas the project work necessary to engage in acquiring, constructing, reconstructing, extending, or otherwise building or improving beach erosion control or flood and hurricane protection works the project includes evaluating, surveying, inspecting, constructing, preserving, patrolling, protecting, operating, maintaining, repairing, rehabilitating, and replacing a public beach, a dune system, and other similar permitted erosion control and storm damage reduction measures together with appurtenances thereto, specifically including the right to deposit sand together with the right of public use and access over such deposited sand, accomplishing any alterations of contours within the easement area, constructing berms and dunes, planting vegetation on berms and dunes, erecting, maintaining, and removing silt screens and sand fences, facilitating preservation of dunes and vegetation through limitation of public access to dune areas, trimming, cutting, felling, and removing from said easement area all trees, underbrush, debris, obstructions, and any other vegetation structures and obstacles within sand easement area, periodically nourishing and re-nourishing the wet and dry sand beaches within said easement area, and performing any other work necessary and incident to the construction, periodic re-nourishment, and maintenance of the town Central Reach Shore Protection Project. DEQ permit 1402 and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permit SAL 2012-00286, including any amendments thereto and/or additional related project permits, and to include future renewals and extensions of such project or similar projects of the same nature, activities, and whereas the town of Holden Beach is specifically authorized to conduct the project under the North Carolina General Statute 160A-4 and 240.1, and whereas the town of Holden Beach is specifically authorized under North Carolina General Statute 40A-3B1 10 to possess and exercise the power of eminent domain for the purpose of engaging in or participating with other governmental entities in acquiring, constructing, reconstructing, extending, or otherwise building or improving beach erosion control or flood and hurricane protection works, including but not limiting to the acquisition of any property that may be required as a source for beach renourishment. Whereas exercising the power of eminent domain to acquire easements in order to accomplish the project falls within the scope of North Carolina General Statute 40A-3B1 10 above, and whereas the town of Holden Beach Board of Commissioners, the board, has approved the project and has directed various town officials, officers, staff, and employees to take all necessary actions to obtain the permits, embark upon, and accomplish the project, and whereas the board has authorized the obtaining of all permits and executing agreements in order to accomplish and complete the project, and whereas the town has made requests to those oceanfront property owners known to the town to execute a deed of easement authorizing project work on the easement area at locations in which the owners may or may not have an ownership interest, and has sent said easement to them for execution, and whereas not all persons who have been sent a deed of easement have returned the same fully executed in a timely manner, and whereas with respect to those beachfront property owners who have not delivered to the town an executed deed of easement, the town authorizes herein the serving of a notice of intent to enter upon lands and to file eminent domain condemnation action, North Carolina General Statute 40A-11 and 40, to acquire easement for beach nourishment project notice of intent in the form and manner required by law, and in the discretion of town staff, another copy of the deed of easement document which the town previously sent to said applicable owners with a request for the applicable owners to execute same, which would render the filing of an eminent domain action unnecessary as to the owners executing the easement, and whereas with respect to owners who have not signed the deed of easement and who have been sent the notice of intent, then it would be in the public interest for the town, upon more than 30 days having elapsed since mailing the notice of intent to particular owners, and no injunctive relief having been entered during that 30-day period restricting the filing of an eminent domain action against applicable owners, to file an eminent domain action against applicable owners to acquire the needed easement interest in order to fulfill the public purpose of the project. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Number 1, the town of Holden Beach shall acquire by condemnation of perpetual easement and right-of-way in, on, over, and across the easement area for the purposes of the project and used by the town of Holden Beach, North Carolina, its representatives, agents, employees, officials, engineers, consultants, surveyors, contractors, subcontractors, permittees, invitees, and assigns to enter the easement area in order to carry out the project and perform the activities thereon. oceanfront properties with easement areas to be condemned who, as of the date of this resolution, have not delivered to the town a deed of easement are to be sent in the manner required by Chapter 40A of the North Carolina General Statutes a notice of intent. Number 3, the attorneys representing the town of Holden Beach are directed to institute necessary proceedings under Chapter 40A of the North Carolina General Statutes on August 12th to acquire the required easement interest in the easement area. Adopted this first day of August 2016 by the unanimous vote of the commissioners during a duly noticed special meeting held on that day.
Any discussion amongst the commissioners?
Just if I could follow up.
Sure.
There's two specific items I spoke to, where there are several parallel actions going on. A couple of them that aren't listed here, of course, is the interlocal agreement with Brunswick County. That is a completed action and one of the requirements that we'll have to have in place for the filing of the application with the Local Government Commission. And also, since it's the proposed financing is special obligation bonds, the creation of a municipal service district. That public hearing is scheduled, the initial public hearing is scheduled for the 16th of August, and we'll go through the particulars related to that on that day at the regular meeting on August 16th. Right, 16th.
Commissioners, you want to discuss?
I'll start. So as you just mentioned, David, it's my understanding is this is a special meeting. We really shouldn't talk about those other meetings that are scheduled, and we'll have an opportunity to talk about
Yep.
those
Yes, the
municipal district and
yes, sir.
other things. Okay. I don't have any questions. I just, one thing that popped up to me is this easement is for in the title, for the Central Reach Shoreline Protection Project. So it's very narrowly defined for that project. The other comment I have is, a little bit more history. We went through letters to the homeowners, and we even had feedback from the HBPOA that was helpful, I think, in clarifying some questions that were being asked. And I think that that helped tremendously in answering some of the frequently asked questions. The other comment I think I'd like to make is I know we'd wish that we'd had a chance to kind of educate everyone, including the board, since we're mostly all new, how this process works. So I view this as, part of the process. My understanding is you're probably never going to get every single homeowner to sign an easement for some reason or another, and some of them might be, just can't find the people that own that property. So out of the 580 or 570 easements we have to file.
Can we give you a report?
Yeah, give me a number.
There's been a really good response since the noticing of this special meeting. We've received a ton of phone calls from people who have been on vacation, who have indicated that they will get it to the town. And it was for that reason that in the resolution, I suggested rather than filing the notices of intent or sending out notices of intent tomorrow, to give people an opportunity after the adoption of this resolution. My office will send a copy of the resolution to every property owner tomorrow who has not yet returned their easements. But I had several phone calls today from folks who indicated that they had placed theirs in the mail today. There are 486 total easements that have been sent out. About 50 of those are timeshares that we have just been able to identify the property owners, and we've already received some of those back, and we sent those out late last week. We have 280 recordable easements. That means that we have other easements that have been sent back that for one reason or another, we've had to send it back to the property owner because a notary forgot to stamp they signed it, but they didn't stamp it, and so we have sent property owners back those easements or a new easement and said, please have this re-executed. We appreciate your willingness to support the project. So we have 280 recordable easements in hand as of noon today, which is more than half.
Thank you.
And is half what we have to have to go forward with this? I mean, how?
You have to have an easement from every property owner in order to satisfy the permit requirements. So, I have spoken with bond counsel about, what do you need to have in, hand in order to go before LGC. When the town files its application, it needs to have a significant number. I think that more than half is significant, given the very short period of time that the town has been attempting to collect these easements. But the easements will need to be recorded, and that is why the August 12th deadline was chosen, based on speaking with bond counsel and the need to have that clock ticking, because once the notice is placed in the mail to property owners, there is a 30-day time period that has to pass before you can file the condemnation suit. As the commissioners are aware, beach renourishment condemnation actions are what is called loosely a quick taking. So in the event 30 days passes, the lawsuit is filed, the town has that easement. So that would mean that by the time LGC actually reviews the application in October, the town should have every easement that's necessary for the project to proceed to meet the permit requirements.
More discussion?
Yeah, I just make an observation of the people at the table. I'm the one that sits on the beach. At 515 OBW on the beach. I've talked to as many people as I can talk to, and I haven't actually talked to anybody who doesn't think the beach will be better off with the project. A lot of issues as to why people were struggling with signing the easement. I struggled at the beginning, but with the POA and the attorneys, and our attorney especially, it was reworded, adjusted, and I read it, as soon as I read it, the rework, I signed it immediately and submitted it, handed it to the attorney. I would ask everybody, if you haven't signed it and you're on the beach, sign the document, because the last thing we need to spend is money to do this when it isn't really necessary, because we're gonna put the project in. It's been approved, we need it badly. Half our beach, 4.5 miles or so, is eroded severely, and we will be much, much better off. Property values will increase. Everybody be better off if we have this. So I'd ask you, please sign them, get them to her. If you have any questions about it, contact the attorney. She can explain anything about it and about the easement agreement itself. But I myself think it's a solid easement agreement, does just what we need and nothing extra, applies just to the project, and I think it's critical for the beach.
I think that's really important. Maybe the attorney can talk to what it doesn't, it's not an easement to your home. It's not,
It's only for the easement area, which is very narrowly defined. And it does not permit the town to, I've been saying, stage a lemonade stand on your property. It doesn't mean that they can walk up and down your access ways and sit on your deck and those things. So that's obviously excluded from the project description as well as the easement area. One of the biggest questions that I answer is the town going to move their bulldozers across my property? That easement does not allow for this, as in you can't come from Ocean Boulevard West across the property owners to the beach without some sort of private arrangement with the town. So that is just not something that this easement is directed at resolving.
But they can come from the ocean.
Ocean, but not from Ocean Boulevard West. Apparently, there was a beach renourishment project at some point where some private property was used for staging or for transporting dump trucks of sand. I've only gathered this information from the people that I've talked to, and that has been a very big concern of some property owners, that the town would use their vacant lot for some sort of activity such as that, but that is not something that this easement would permit.
Any more comments?
Well, I think in a perfect world, it would have been nice if we had a year and a half or 2 years to collect all these easements, but for several reasons we didn't. So we had to speed up this process. And I think a part of collecting all of these easements has been the speed with which we've had to do this process. So thank you, Noel, for all that you have done. I know your staff too has worked diligently to collect all of these, and we do appreciate that.
Mr. Hewitt, will you explain the time frame that we cannot do too far in advance because of the requirements of the project? In other words, we couldn't have done it 2 years ago, 5 years ago.
It's been my experience that time, irregardless of how much time that you have, there's always going to be a portion of the easements that people are knocking down the door to give you their easements. Then, that's probably 25%, another 25%. Those folks are always going to be on vacation, or they're the folks that they put those easements up on the credenza with some of the bills that are always late to get paid, or the day late, and we're in the probably the 25th percentile of folks that just need a little more nudging. There's probably a quarter of the population, whatever it is, that need to be talked to, they need to be interacted with. And then there's probably 30% of those easements that get executed and they're administratively deficient, that the wife didn't sign. And so there's always going to be malingerers. I don't, that's probably not the wisest word to use, but we're down in the short rows on the project now with better than half of the easements acquired. And I will say that since the notice of this meeting went out, the pace has picked up dramatically, not only in Noel's office, but here at our office too, needing the services of the notary. And I believe that the pace will continue to pick up once the resolution is adopted. And we send out basically another courtesy notification tomorrow, which is basically about a 10 days lead time before the real notification, the official notification goes out.
I agree with everything you said, but I think Noel, you talked about other places. There's an education process that it typically takes a year to make.
Every municipality has handled it a little bit differently. That's what I've learned from speaking with most of the folks. A lot of them knew what the needs were long before and knew that they were going to be required to have easements. From the town's perspective, we are where we are. We've
Yep.
got a very tight schedule, a very narrow dredging window, and that's why the special.
Yep,
meeting
understood.
is.
Okay, yep, okay.
Any more discussion from the board? Is there a motion from a commissioner?
I move that we adopt the resolution as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anything else you want to discuss? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Madam Clerk, it's unanimous. Mr. Hewitt, what else do you want us to do tonight?
I'm good.
Madam Attorney, what else do we need to do tonight?
Nothing that I'm aware of, sir.
How about a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's unanimous. We go home. Thank you all for being here.